Going to explain briefly what has happened to me with nanotech in regards to my reproductive organs. They did damage my right testicle, and they did damage my left and right testicle, but they are not fully destroyed. My right gonad has had its vas deferens severed, but it's being held in stasis with nanotech. So it is, all of this is still alive, but I have to seek these repairs. Now, I would assume at this point that this is happening because these guys are trying to promote their medical technologies, and this is how sick these people are: is that they will do things to you, and then they will provide the solution to act like they're the heroes in the process. And this is called the Hegelian dialectic. It's problem, reaction, solution. They will cause the problem, they will watch and assess the reaction, and then they will provide the solution. And this is only as a matter of affluence. It's the position of affluence that allows them to do this to people, and this is how they take advantage of the public and other individuals. Now, they have also tried to shrink the size of my cock, and then they also are trying to discredit me inside of my own mind in regards to the technology that's being used, so that they don't have to restore the full size, which is 8.5 inches. And in terms of circumference, I'm not entirely sure, but it is, larger than the full cup of my hand there, or about that. So I'm not doing this. I know this will probably come off initially as embarrassing, but I do not mind putting this out to the public because of the way that this terrorism has been used against me with the use of nanotech, and also these various technologies like AI, autonomous weapon systems on me, and so on and so forth. Also bioweapons. So bioweapons, a chimera was used on me, and various chimeras were put in my body. They have talked about trying to destroy my spinal fluid, or trying to inoculate my spinal fluid. They've drilled into my bones and bone marrow using nanotech and tried to assess my genetics and stem cells. So this is for most people, it's probably going to come across a pretty freaky issue. But I am, again, putting this out there into the public so that I do have a contingency plan. I do have evidence that is timed and dated, and they cannot take advantage of me and say that any of my reproductive glands were destroyed in this process in any way, shape, or form, even in regards to size or anything, because they are trying to deny me repairs just to be vindictive, because they were outsmarted and tricked by themselves into destroying themselves. This actually all started and revolves around a rap or a poem that I wrote called "No Rest for the Wicked" back in 2011-2012 crossover period, and it describes some of these satanic agendas, or it describes like the black cube of King Solomon and the 72 demons. Now, this is a metaphorical and allegorical statement, and it goes into the use of the black cube as a reference to the worship of matter over the immaterial, or the worship of what is physical over that which is abstract. So it is to say that all things that are material have precedence over all things that are in the idea realm, meaning physical over spiritual. You could say that as well. That's another way that it is interpreted. And the black cube is the way in which I used it was sort of a mathematical model for the gathering of what they call the demons. Elon Musk has actually referred to this before, and on some of the social media. And I only mention this because this is one of the only main staple moguls which actually mentions demons at all in one of his talks, and it talks about how, or what it's mentioning is that the misuse of AI could turn into the demons is what he's really referring to. So anyone with a malicious influence that gets AI inside of their brain is basically like called the demon. That is what they are. So this is that poem was describing that, and it's also describing it in such a way that it would precipitate an alteration in how AI has been used or will be used. Specifically, this is to go out to go out against the use of general artificial intelligence, because of the fact that if general artificial intelligence does get a hold of the imagery or the concepts within the internet functions, it will see that the species is inherently, it has been violent all throughout its history. And for a general intelligence to gather information like this, there is a possibility the general intelligence will reason that the human being needs to be destroyed and that there is only one entity that should exist, and that is the general intelligence. So this is a very real possibility, especially with the advent and proliferation of robotics and the new technological age that we're coming into. And so all these things kind of tie together. They work in my mind, but in terms of providing the structure here and putting them into a textual format that is rightfully scientifically descriptive, I'm not doing so in these videos with any immediacy. This is just to gather a conceptual understanding of the whole issue, and then everything will be specified again later. So